The Nets are awaiting the return of Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons, and a team who got somebody to return as recently as Orlando Magic. Markelle Fultz made his season debut against the Pacers twice, played them twice already, and in those 2 games, he's averaged 10.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, shooting 77% from the field. Now, the Magic are the worst team in the NBA record-wise, but they do have young talent, and Markelle Fultz, now that he's back, it does bring some optimism to the city of Orlando. Now, what did you think of in Markelle Fultz's return? What did you see? Does he look like he's already back to normal? What does this mean for Orlando moving forward? What do you think?
I wouldn't say he looked back to normal, but he looked explosive. You know, he looked really strong at the rim. You know, he looked like he still has that finishing ability. So I like he looked a little bit like Markelle coming out of college. You know, a guy who really attacked the rim with force, a guy who really was able to finish at the rim. So I like that about him. And he let the game come to him. You know, he wasn't extremely aggressive. He didn't force anything that was major. So that's one thing. Going into the Magic's depth, they have a lot of depth at that young talent. Like, there's a lot of young talent.
At the guard position,
aside from T. Ross and probably 2 other guys I'm missing, there's a lot. Like, the whole team is young. Just speaking on the guards, R.J. Hampton, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Markelle Fultz. It's tough. You know, Jalen Suggs, they just drafted. Cole Anthony, he kind of just emerged onto the scene this year. You know, people last year were kind of low on him. Then he just had a breakout year this year. And then R.J. Hampton, who's kind of like, he hasn't, I feel like he hasn't really, he coming from Denver, he hasn't really gotten his full plate like everybody else. I feel like Suggs has got his fair share. Cole Anthony's got his fair share. But Markelle Fultz, you know, a guy who's been injury prone for the last 2-3 seasons, it's tough because you're looking at the Magic, and only 2 of these guys you're going to be able to keep, honestly. And I think for them, Jalen Suggs being that he picked, I like Jalen Suggs the most because I like his defensive intensity. I like the way he finishes the basket, his quick speed. He's twitchy. I like his athletic ability. I like Cole Anthony's ability to get buckets, attack the basket, also, you know, create his own shot. Markelle Fultz, though, could kind of change the trajectory if he comes in and he bounces back and he plays like what he was playing like before or even better. For R.J. Hampton, though, I think it's tough for him to kind of get into the rotation and kind of, you know, uplift himself into that spot. But I think, like, for the Magic, they have a good problem right now. I think when you have too much young depth, it's really a good problem because at that point you have just a lot of talent that you want to grow with. And Mosley has been a good coach for the most part. I know the record doesn't show it, but his team does play for them. And the Magic, they have the worst record, but they do play hard. So that's something you got to like. They
have
hard.
Bright spots.
Yeah, so for me, I think they have a good problem right now. But I think for me, I would, like, if I had to choose, I would probably ride with Suggs and Anthony right now.
I loved what I saw from Markelle, to be honest with you. Coming in, hitting some mid-range jumpers, taking it to the basket, some fancy finishes at the rim, showed some good passing, driving to the basket, hitting a cutting guy. He looked really good in his 2 games. It does make me optimistic. I believe that as long as he is at least on the court, he can give the Magic some kind of uplifting, especially to these young guys. Cole Anthony can now focus on hitting shots and not being so ball dominant where he feels like he has to do a lot. He started off the season very good. He's still their leading scorer, but I've seen him be streaky, a little bit too streaky for my liking, to the point where I'm starting to think if Cole Anthony wasn't on the Magic and given the opportunity to play this much, if he were on a different team, would he be doing something similar to what he's been able to do on the Orlando Magic? I look at Jalen Suggs, and I understand that he is young and he is definitely coming into his own as a basketball player, still turning the ball over a little too much. His field goal, his efficiency hasn't been not what the Magic had been expecting, but he still shows flashes. Great defensively, quick ball player. The game will come to him eventually. He just has to hit shots a little bit more consistently. More bright spots. Franz Wagner. He's been exceeding all expectations of what was thought of him as soon as he comes into the Orlando Magic this season. He's been spectacular. Another bright spot, Wendell Carter. Double-double machine, super efficient, good defensively down low. This is a guy that they got for a relatively low price. I'm sure they're looking at that deal, and they're not mad at it. And let's be real. It's all right. They're young. Wendell Carter, it fits what they're going for. Mo Bamba's another one that finally he's starting to get some playtime. He's showing why he hasn't shown the top 5
He's been okay,
talent, but he definitely has shown strides this season where He's making the most of his opportunity. Another double-double machine, good defensively down low. The guard depth is not as much of an issue given the fact that Orlando is still young. Now they realize what they have to focus on. Let's get more guys on the wing position. Let's get guys that can score the basketball a little bit more. Let's find an identity that I believe that they can do so. Having guard depth is not an issue, especially in this NBA where guard play is so important to a team. Markelle Fultz is a hybrid to a degree, if we're being honest. He definitely is a point guard by position name and what he's been granted.
Combo guard.
But exactly, he can play that wing or not. I don't want to say Luka, but I'm just going solely off of size and athleticism. He's not the scoring guard that Luka is. Come on, that's obvious. I just mean in the sense of he's a big guy, he's an athletic guy. He can play that hybrid type of position. So you have that opens opportunity for Jalen Suggs. That opens opportunity for Cole Anthony there. RJ Hampton can now come in off the bench and give them a spark. Terrence Ross can just continue being that spark off the bench for them scoring wise. They need to focus on getting wings, continue to add depth to that on top of Franz Wagner, and I think they'll be okay.
I kind of feel sorry for Markelle Fultz. You know, he was a guy who I actually liked his game in college. A couple of my friends in high school put me on to him in college, and from what I saw in college, I thought he was going to be a superstar in short order in the NBA, but obviously that didn't pan out. But this is a pretty easy decision for me. I'm staying with Cole Anthony, and I'm staying with Jalen Suggs. You invested the top 5 pick in Jalen Suggs, so you're going to keep him. Cole Anthony has shown flashes this year. I think he's averaging 19 points, like 7 rebounds, around
17
points. You know, he's having high assist numbers. He does turn over the ball a lot, and he is a little inefficient. But then again, I just look at the 5-year run that Markelle Fultz has had. I mean, rookie year in Philly, jump shot was a complete issue, averaged 8 points. The next year, averaged 10.
Bad shoulder, bro.
I mean, it was, though, but
Cole Anthony shooting under 40%. Again, I feel
he
as
takes
if
a lot of tough shots,
if
though.
he were in a different position, there's a chance, one, he's not a starter, and he's not getting not nearly the opportunities.
He's not
and
the
shot
worst
volume.
point guard in the league.
I'm not saying
He's not the worst starting point guard, though.
I wouldn't.
He's definitely not the worst starting point guard. But, I mean,
Take
look,
a look.
you look at the against Orlando.
I would say Washington.
You mean against Orlando?
I agree.
With Orlando?
Okay.
With Orlando,
Okay.
yeah, with Orlando. Last year,
I'm trying to think too.
Last year he played 8 games. This year he's only playing in 2 games. He has a
Injury is a
he has a
concern.
yes. It's a huge concern. He's paid. One situation in Philly already gave up on him. Granted, they had a Ben Simmons to take his spot, to be honest, so it wasn't that much of a big loss. But then again, in Orlando, he hasn't played much games. He played 8 games last year. He played 2 games this year. And in the year where he played 64 games, he averaged 12 points on 42% field goal shooting. Like, this is nothing to break your back or anything over, you know? Him and Jonathan Isaac are 2 of the most injured players on that roster, and I think that those are 2 players that they have to move on from. Jalen Suggs, although he started the season slow, you guys are right. He's very good defensively, very good at attacking the basket, and his offensive game was better in college, and I do think that he can somewhat get to that level. And then as far as Cole Anthony, I just don't see Markelle Fultz, given the situation that he's been in with his shoulder injury and him having to really kind of learn how to shoot again. I just don't think that a couple of good games, because there's only about 15 games left in the season. I don't
Like 15, 20.
I don't think that's enough for me to sway my opinion on a Cole Anthony who's had a breakout year, and Jalen Suggs who has potential to be something very good in this league. So I'm not thinking twice of it. I mean, my issue with Markelle, he doesn't play enough games. His jump shot is broke. I'm off him, bro. Like I just don't think that he's worth anything investing for. I think you have 2 guards for the future that are set or that are at least better than him, and it sucks because he was a highly touted prospect coming out of college. He was supposed to be much better than what he is now, but injuries derailed him, and you can't trust a player who's always injured.
So I really went to look to see what teams I would take their point guard over Cole Anthony. Who I wouldn't
Who said
take.
Cole comes off the bench?
Never said he came off the bench, bro.
What do you mean?
No, Drew said he's better off the bench.
Oh, you think he's better off the bench, Cole?
I'm not saying he'd be better off on the bench. I'm saying that if he were in a different situation,
Right.
he would not get not nearly as much volume as he is, given the fact that the Magic are not a good team, and he's in a position where he's benefiting from them being bad, and he's seizing his opportunity.
He's a young player on a rebuilding team. That's what everybody
Again, he's
does.
shooting under 40% from the field.
He's one of the main consistent shot creators on that team, bro, and he's undersized. He's really not that bad, bro.
I looked at it again. I would probably say there are 4 teams right now that have worse point guards. One's debatable. Kevin Porter Jr. and him, I would take Cole Anthony, but Kevin Porter Jr. is a better facilitator, better jump shooter.
You think that's debatable?
I do think so.
I
He's
think
a
it's
better
not debatable.
facilitator.
I like Kevin Porter Jr.'s game a lot, actually.
Oh my God, have you seen how
What do you
awful
guys-
he's been
what
this
do you
year?
guys have?
Yo, you're a
I got
huge
Cole.
you're a huge percentage, guys. Yo, look at his percentages.
It's bad.
It's horrible.
No, it's not good.
horrendous.
It's not.
It's
I agree.
horrendous.
He's 6'2", guys.
It's horrendous, though.
Another team that I look at and probably would lean him being better than the Knicks. You guys don't have a point guard.
I mean, easily, yeah.
And honestly,
Washington, right?
Washington, and that was it.
Raul Neto is their point guard?
Raul Neto.
I was about to say something, but I'm just gonna not say it.
Literally every other team, I'm taking their point guard over him. And
Even the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm taking Russ over him.
They're the same guy, bro.
Come on.
Yo,
I would take
okay.
I
Cole
just feel
for
like
the youth.
I just feel like Markelle can do more for the team in terms of facilitating
okay.
and explosiveness.
You guys
I
all
think
gave
he's
you
a
guys
bust, bro.
you guys all gave your opinion on it. Look, I think Markelle was fine. I think he was good. He was efficient. I think he was able to read the passing lanes very well. Like, one thing about Markelle is he's a very good passer, and he excels with the ball in his hands. And you guys were very blossomy and flowery about the Orlando Magic situation. You were very optimistic about it.
Be nice.
I'm looking at it.
We
Look,
have- we
shout
have
out,
Orlando friends.
shout out to the 6-man
Thank
show.
you.
I love
Thank
this
you.
show.
Thank you.
Kevin's less efficient than Cole.
I
Yes.
know.
That's what I'm.
That was,
No, I
but
agree.
let's-
he loves the fishes. That's what I told him. He loves the fishes.
Let's be honest, though. The Magic have a terrible problem. They have a bunch of guards that aren't very good right now. Can they be good in the future? Yes. Are they good? Like, Cole Anthony's inefficient. He started the season off very efficient. He's toned it down. And to your point about Markelle taking responsibility off of him as a ball handler, I think Cole excels better when he has the ball in his hands.
Fair.
Markelle excels with the ball in his hands.
Fair.
Jalen Suggs in college had the ball in his hands. These are all guys who had the ball in their hands, and they excel the most when they have the ball in their hands.
Disagree.
I don't think Suggs is a 2-guard. I don't think Fultz is a 2-guard. I don't think Cole is a 2-guard. I think they are all guys who excel having the ball in their hands. The 3 most consistent Magic players on the team have been Franz, have been Gary Harris, and have been Wendell Carter Jr.
Mm-hmm.
I've already given up on Mo Bamba. He is 7'1", and he cannot defend. He is not a good defender. He can only
a shot
shot
block.
block,
Yep.
but even then, his anticipation is not very good. I'm out on Mo Bamba. It's good they found Wendell. He's been really solid for them. But this isn't a good problem to have, and we talked about Jalen Suggs earlier in the year, and I made the comparison to Alfred Payne, and now I don't think he's Alfred Payne, but my pro comp for Jalen Suggs was Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe at a point in time was a very good guard in the league, but Riff can attest to this. Before the draft, Jalen Suggs got all this hype. I told Riff, I think Trey Mann is a better player. Trey Mann, when he's gotten minutes in OKC, he's shown his shot creation prowess. I said Josh Giddey was a better player. Now, we can always look back on the draft and say they should have did this, they should have did that. Most people hated the Franz pick. I thought he was a Swiss Army knife. Franz
Gotta be honest. So did I.
was more than that in the NBA. That's true. But the Suggs pick is the pick that they might look back on years later and regret. Jonathan Kuminga, they passed on him. Josh Giddey, they passed on him. And their reasoning for passing on Kuminga specifically was because we got Jonathan Isaac. But Jonathan Isaac hasn't played.
He never
Markelle
plays.
came back before Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac got injured before him, and he hasn't been back
It's
yet.
almost 2 years now.
And on top of that, I know that Isaac is a good defender, but he does not have an offensive game.
He's an elite defender.
I know, but he has no offensive game.
Elite defender.
So
for
because
sure.
of that, I'm not sure
Straps.
where they're going. They paid Isaac already. They paid Markelle already. They invested a top 5 pick into Jalen Suggs, the 5th overall pick. Cole Anthony looks like the most ready out of all of them, even though I think Fultz is the best floor
I
general
agree.
out of all of them. But this isn't a good problem to have. It's just not. And people are optimistic because it's young players. These are young players who show some flashes. But we've seen this before in Orlando. We saw in 2015 where they had Victor Oladipo, Tobias Harris. They had Aaron Gordon. They had young players, promising players on their team. They had Vucevic at the time, and nothing ever happened from it. So I just don't think this is a good problem to have, because the only person I'll look at on on the Magic's roster right now that I'm like, okay, he's gonna be really good. I don't know how good yet, but he's gonna be really good. Is Franz. That's it. Suggs has been wildly inefficient, and even as of late, since the All-Star break, he's averaging 11, 5, and 4, and he's shooting 35% from the field and 20% from three. This is not the guy they drafted.
And what about Wendell? You're not going to add him into that?
I like Wendell, but he's just, to me, a good serviceable big. I think Franz is the only one on the Magic.
And he can stretch the floor.
Franz is the only one on the Magic that has the potential to be really, really good.
Okay.
I think Suggs, because he's just a rookie, yeah, you got to throw him in there. I think Markelle, you kind of know what he's going to be. Cole, I kind of have an idea because I've seen players like him in the past come in. I think he is what Magic fans are hoping Cole becomes what Tyrese Maxey became this year, which is highly possible, which is an efficient. I think it's possible. Why is it not possible?
I think you're way too low on Jalen Suggs.
I think that too also.
I think you're
way too high on Cole Anthony.
I think you comparing his situation from college to now is extremely, extremely lazy. Like in college, because in college you talk about this is not the guy they drafted. Well, in college, let's be realistic. He was like the fourth option.
But in college, he had the ball in his hands all the time.
But it wasn't. But see, the difference was he had the ball in his hands, yes, but he was really playmaking. Corey Kispert was doing most of the scoring, and even then they had Drew Timme. They was really running the offense through him. Jalen Suggs was more of. Now, I wouldn't even call him a secondary player. He was more of like a third player. Like, he fed off his other guys, and then he still had to, like, I think coming into a situation like this where, like you said, it's a rebuilding team, now the load is kind of a bit more, and he has to kind of do a little bit more for his team. You're just judging him a little bit too harsh. When
is he not the fourth option on the Magic, though?
It depends. I really, it depends.
I mean, Franz, Cole are over him.
Who else is over him?
Wendell? I think probably you just make him even if it's the third or fourth option. What's the big difference? I think the problem with Suggs that I saw in college was that he's a transition scorer. Like, most of his baskets came in transition. He wasn't really able to generate half court offense at a consistent level.
But I think you saying that, but I think that's not true. I just think a lot of the half court offense ran through Timme, and then he just fed off either backdoor cuts or just running a pick and roll every here now and then.
Yeah,
I think it's different.
That's what I'm saying, though, is that Jalen Suggs, at least from the tape that I watched, didn't show he can excel in that. Like, when I watched Trey Mann, he excelled at shot creation in college.
Yeah, but I also think
Suggs didn't excel at that.
But Trey was given the opportunities. I think it's still.
I'm just judging off what I saw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're being a little too harsh because it's only his rookie year. This is new to him.
So what do you think Suggs is going to be? I know it's really early, but I already said my pro comp is Eric Bledsoe. That's not a bad player.
Yeah, but you said Eric Bledsoe, and I feel like Suggs coming out of college is like, I don't know, like Eric Bledsoe. I feel like he can be a little bit better than Eric Bledsoe, bro.
So what's a little bit better?
All-star?
I think he can be an all-star once.
Eric Bledsoe was a borderline all-star. He averaged 25-5 one year, or 20-7.
Could he be better than De'Aaron Fox?
Who?
I'm asking Suggs. Do you think?
So I thought you said Bledsoe.
Come on, Suggs the only one of substance there.
Can he be better than I think that's.
Can he be as good as De'Aaron Fox?
That's so tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It is tough. It is.
That's so tough.
That is a tough question.
So let me ask you this then: if they're doing a redraft, you're taking Suggs over Giddey and Kuminga.
I probably wouldn't take Suggs over Giddey.
So you take him over Kuminga?
Listen, I love Kuminga. I really do. But I think we jumped that gun a little bit too much. He's feeding off the other players in Golden State. We don't know.
Do they take Franz?
Probably not. But even then, like, I wouldn't rule them out taking two wings.
I don't know. Do we think? I don't know. Like, I can't sit here and say I would take him in because I don't know what he would be like in a situation like that. I don't know. I feel like
I honestly feel like he'd get more opportunity and be better. Like, he definitely average more.
He's a roller and a cutter for one of the best playmaking bigs.
But he can't. He can create. He's not asked to create on Golden State.
He can create in mismatches. If he's one of the main options on Orlando, you think he's going to be as efficient? You think he's still going to do it? I think he'll struggle.
Is he not averaging like 14 on Orlando though?
Yeah.
Suggs is at 13.
Yeah, but inefficiently.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Kuminga is inefficient.
Efficiency for rookies is we should not, like, come on, bro. He's a point guard with, come on, bro.
Bro, I'm just saying, okay, you're all look,
I just think
And he turns over the ball a lot.
maybe
Suggs.
Yes.
He does.
maybe I'm a bit too harsh,
Too
but
harsh.
all I'm
That's all I'm
saying
saying.
is that after his rookie season, we all were out on Killian. It didn't take us
But
long.
it's different.
Come on, bro.
Killian showed
Don't
nothing.
do that, bro.
Killian
was
showed
really
nothing.
garbage,
horrible, bro.
Killian showed
was
nothing.
really garbage.
He's
I'm
horrible.
not saying that, but Killian is he's a good defender.
We weren't all the way out on Killian after his rookie year, though. It was really towards that summer league going into his
when he
second
didn't do
year.
anything in the summer.
Yeah,
league.
we
I know,
was like,
but-
no,
I
he's
think
garbage.
Jalen Suggs is definitely
but
going to be better than him.
Killian
though.
was a good defender. Killian right now in Detroit is one of their best passers.
You think so?
Yes. Detroit sucks though. Like, I'm not comparing the situation, but I'm just saying like
Kate.
I think
it doesn't. Maybe I'm gonna be totally wrong on Suggs, but to me at least, it didn't take me long to see that Killian wasn't going to be this great player. Like, I think Suggs is gonna be fine, but I don't think he's gonna be a top 10 point guard in the league.
Suggs has already shown way more than Killian has, though.
I know, but I don't think Suggs is gonna be a top
Not
10
saying
point guard
much.
in the league. Like, I think the Magic have a bunch of guards that really, in my opinion, don't have superstar potential. Like, Markelle is, I think, just a solid floor general. Suggs, I think, like I said, Eric Bledsoe.
Cole Anthony.
And then Cole Anthony, he's a volume shooter. He's a volume shot creator. I don't really see that being as a all-star, superstar level player. And they've invested so much into the guard position to where they have to see what they have. So this is going to be a process. So they're at least going to stick with 2 to 3 of these guys for like 2-3 seasons. And I feel like Markelle, they paid him way too early. Without him showing anything, they paid him way too early.
I mean, he showed a little bit of. He showed something at least in his time in Orlando. It's just unfortunate he got hurt.
I mean, the scary
Yo,
thing
what
for
pick was he?
Number 1.
He's a bust.
The scary thing for Fultz is, when is he going to get hurt? You know, that's always the thought in
played
people's
2
mind.
games
Like,
last-
is he going to
6
get hurt?
games last
What's
year.
going to happen?
I just don't believe a backcourt of whatever variation you want.
Not
Suggs,
shooters.
Cole,
They're not
Markelle,
great shooters.
Markelle, Suggs. I don't think any of that sounds good. I just don't.
I get it.
agree.
I just think, like, for Suggs, like, he for me personally, I like what he brings as a point guard. You know, the intangibles, like his IQ is a little bit high on the defensive end. So I just like that. When you have all that, and he's only 20 years old. You know, athletic point guards like that, they're really
You
hard
think
to
he can
judge.
develop a jump shot?
I don't know.
At least to be
No, I
around
think he
league
can.
average?
I think
He has a
can.
nice form. So
He
like,
does, that's what I'm
he has a
saying.
really nice form. So I think for athletic point guards, it really takes time to judge
I'm
them.
not out on Jalen Suggs yet.
I just don't think it's a good problem to have. That's really where I stand.
understand,
I don't think having these many players is a good problem to have.
Jonathan
Orlando-
Isaac makes it worse too.
I mean, at least you know when he comes back, you know what he's gonna do. Like, you know he's gonna
never
lock
plays,
up.
bro.
Yeah,
Bro, he never plays, bro.
Orlando is. Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic because they just have a lot. I like
Franz
their
is
young
good,
talent.
though.
I do
Franz is
legit like their young talent. It's just they're bringing in another pick. You know, I think they should go Jabari. You know,
That'd be
plug him
good.
in at the 4, and I think maybe you can move Isaac because I think Jabari would probably be better than him anyway. So I think that would be the next move. And like,
I like that.
maybe not Jalen and Anthony, but I don't think they should move off Suggs at the 1. I think Suggs at the 1 is fine. Franz at the 3.
I think so too. I think moving forward, Suggs should be their point guard and have the most ball handling responsibility. But that's why I go back to it's not a good problem to have all these guys because
He should be the number 1 ball handler over Markelle.
Yes.
And Cole.
because even though they gave Markelle a contract, like, you took Suggs with the 5th overall pick.
Yeah.
He should be the priority over every single player on that team, not named Franz.
It's tough. Fultz was the number 1 pick, and I'm like, I
But
understand
they
he's
didn't
not
draft him.
Yeah.
And they traded him. They traded
They
nothing
got
to
him
get
for a
him.
bag of peanuts. Yeah,
They they traded
but
nothing
I'm sure
to
you
get
still
him.
want to see his. You want to see him try to get to his
And
potential.
as much as I hate him, Wendell has been really good. So
Extremely.
no, yeah, I really
Yeah.
hate him though. But shout out to Wendell. He has been really good.
It's a
But I
shame
mean,
'cause
yo,
honestly-
what do you think Markel's potential is?
I think we know what he is.
No, because he says he wants to see him reach his
No,
potential.
I'm saying
I
that
just want to know
the
what he thinks his
Magic
potential
could-
is.
I wouldn't hate it if he
I don't
becomes
know.
like a Jordan Clarkson off the bench for Orlando. They make the playoffs, you know, a little 2.0
Nah, the
straight
thi-
bucket.
Nah, but that's the thing. Markel's not a he can get
That's more
his
Cole
own
Anthony.
shot. Yeah. Yes. 100% a fact.
I said I wouldn't mind if he did it though. Markelle come off the bench.
Cole Anthony to me is a player who would thrive in a similar role to Jordan Poole.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Poole is nah. Cole is like a Colin
really trying to
Sexton,
think.
bro.
About what your question.
That's true too.
Yeah, like
I just don't know what more he can do. I mean, he's about to be 24. He's missed a ton of games.
me and Wendell have the same birthday.
I just don't know
It's
what.
just my life is ruined.
I just don't know why you would keep
Interesting.
him over those guards when he has an injury history.
He could be with, let's say he plays around because these 2 games he's played 15 minutes. Let's say he gets to around 25 to 27 minutes a game. It's not out of the realm of possibility he can average 15, 6, and 6.
But it's like, numbers are cool.
It's not impactful, right?
Yeah, what are we looking at?
Yes, he's still athletic, still brings great playmaking.
Yeah, but is he taking the ball out of Suggs' hands?
It would be both of them. I don't want Cole again.
I don't want
I don't want it on
Dame
Cole
and
Anthony.
CJ if I'm Orlando.
So you want dual playmakers in your backcourt?
I don't want another Dame and CJ.